everything.
Cool. And then you're at Sussex until obviously very recently, but we'll touch on that later on. But you got on the academy, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I remember you made your debut for the first team when you were still on the academy. Is that right? In Holland.
Yeah, great. That's a great.
And the reason,
I forgot about that.
Do you know the reason why I remember?
Why?
The reason why I remember it is because I played for Scotland 2 days before, a day before.
Yeah.
And Robbo said, "Oh, you'll be playing in the game.
Yeah.
We're going to fly you out." So I finished playing for Scotland. I flew from Edinburgh to Amsterdam Airport, and then the game wasn't in Amsterdam.
No, it was in Rotterdam, which is a shame.
And I had to get a taxi from Amsterdam to Rotterdam.
Yeah.
I then got there, and it was raining. And Robbo said, "Oh, we're not going to play you. We're going to play Harry as a bowler of the bat."
Yeah, that's it. I remember that. I remember that really well.
Yeah. I remember it so clearly because I think it was my first or second year. I just got in the white ball team, and he was like, "You're not playing. We're playing Harry." And I was like, "Who's Harry?" He's like, "Oh, this 16, 17-year-old academy lad, he can bowl seam." I was like, "Okay, fine." But I remember it so clearly because I got into the hotel at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Oh no, it must have been 10 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
But I flew late, and then I had to stay on the airport floor because there was no hotel. So that was my day in Rotterdam.
And you had to carry the drinks. I mean, it rained. I do remember
it rained, and then I subsequently played there for Scotland maybe like 6 years later.
Yeah.
And 4 days was washed out. I'm still in the same hotel.
So just
I hate Rotterdam.
I
hate Rotterdam.
I
That was your debut, wasn't it?
I do, but that was my it would have been my list day and Sussex day. I shouldn't know how old it was.
I reckon he was last year at school.
Certainly wasn't able to drive.
No.
So
I reckon he was 17, 18.
I remember that. I remember being in the pub the night before the professional athletes we are in cricket, and then I remember that was just a big eye opener for me, especially watching Murray Goodwin have a few pints.
Murray still playing?
Muzz was still playing. Yeah, my early years with Muzz. So
wow. Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, that was massively out of the blue. I mean, it doesn't really feel like my debut because it was. I mean, I think I bowled 2 overs for 4. So my economy rating this day is to this day.
If you bowled 2 overs?
I think I've only bowled 2 overs. We'd have to check it, but I maybe bowled a couple more.
So
but
if you're listening out there, you could start your career as a bowling all-rounder at 17.
Yeah.
And 25, 26, you'll be a batter that doesn't bowl
or try and get a bowling back. 1 week I'm bowling leg spin, the next I'm bowling seam. But yeah, no, I do remember that. That was. Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's a different experience when you're that age and playing with blokes, and you're just in awe of everyone, really.
And talking about that, that's a good point. That's something I want to touch on. You're going from that environment of school cricket, academy cricket, doing well, and being one of the best players in the nation, to then getting thrown into the first team, which you said you had it. Well, they had a couple of beers the night before in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, before your first game was an eye-opener. How was that transition? How did you find that? Not so much from a technical point and a game point, because you're put in that situation because you're good enough.
Yeah.
How was it from a mental standpoint? Because that's the thing a lot of people struggle with when they go to that next bit from club cricket to academy or academy to first team. How was that mental step up for you?
Well, I think first and foremost it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
I think for myself it took me a long time, I think, to feel like I was a part of the squad there, and that's got nothing to do with the guys that are there, because the guys that are there, especially in the early years, were great blokes and we're in such a successful team. It's just probably me, myself. I don't think I probably got rid of that feeling of in awe of some of these guys, maybe until I was 22, 23, which is probably quite a long time. I reckon it took me a good 3 or 4 years to properly be myself in that environment. And look, other people it might take a year, some it might take longer. But it was a massive thing I had to try and get over, because I absolutely love cricket. I do enjoy my football a bit more, but I do love cricket. And my heroes growing up, especially at Sussex, were Michael Yardley, Luke Wright, and Matt Pryor as well. And then to suddenly be in the dressing room, and they're talking to you, I didn't know what to say. Literally didn't know what to say. Like half the time, sometimes didn't want to go in the change room because they were in there, because I didn't want to go in and have that conversation.
When do you reckon it changed for you? Because I know, speaking to people from my point of view, I found exactly the same thing. Maybe through that, not 3 or 4 years, definitely a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I found when I started to play a few first team games and get the respect from the older guys, that's when I found it change. I felt I could have a more of a relationship with them. But saying that though, just thinking about it now, you would have been what, 18, 22, 22 when you say you felt right. Some of these guys you're playing with are still like 34, 35. They're a different generation. Yeah,
I think for me it wasn't necessarily the cricket, because not Not that I didn't play I didn't play huge amounts of first team up till I was that age. For me, it was more about the socialising and stuff, and actually being acknowledged as a person. And I think I gained a lot of confidence when you start to, of course, when you get around the first team, you start getting out for dinner with them and stuff. But definitely, the longer I was there, the more I got to know these people. The more you realise they aren't just normal blokes. Like they're all just normal blokes who happen to be good at cricket. So I reckon it was more to do with around that and about as people rather than the cricket. But I definitely, obviously, the more time you spend around them in the first team, I think it naturally changes, and that's why you've got to take your hat off to people who are able to come from the age of 18 or 19, go straight into the first team. As a young lad at Yorkshire, remember that Harry Brook, who I don't know him as a guy, but from the outside you look at him, walk into an environment like that, and he's just gone in there and just nailed it.
How old is he? Young?
I think he's probably 19, 20. Like, I haven't played against him, don't know him. But he's just your perception from the outside is that's hats off to like go into an environment like that.
No, definitely.
But I definitely would say it's more to do with the social side rather than the cricket, definitely.
So obviously the social aspect, I do think is a massive environment in a professional environment. You know, it's different from football and rugby because as cricket you're away for 4 or 5 days, sometimes even up to weeks on end, playing different formats, which is tough. And you are going out for dinner with these guys. From a playing perspective, then, how was the transition as well? Was that tough? Did it take you as long, do you think? Because I remember watching you bat. It must have been very early on in your career, and you got 92 or 93 against Glamorgan.
I was
balls.
Living with you and then batting with you, didn't I? Yeah.
Harry also lived.
Yeah, I also did live with
Season?
one of my early seasons. Yeah.
That was good some of that.
Was a good summer.
What? I remember some days you used to wake me up listening to Ashes cricket. That's how much.
That's how much of a badger I was. Yeah. What was? Yeah, I don't know. I would say I'm a part of me really wants to get that player back.
Okay.
Definitely. I feel like I've changed quite a lot since.
As a person or as a player?
I probably naturally a bit of both, but
You
more so.
matured.
Yeah, obviously matured as a person, but there's aspects of my batting when I look back at my early years, and I didn't think as much then. I think a lot more now. Which I get in my way probably at times, but my batting then, I mean that was probably one of the best innings even to now I've ever played. And I was 18, 19? I think I got given for those that don't know, I got given a real token game at the end of my 50 over got against Morgan. No, so I was down to bat at 6 and it rained halfway through our innings. I think we only lost 5 or so overs. Anyway, it got to a point where I think we were 160 for 2 or something, or 30 overs, maybe 28, whatever. And Joycey just came up to me. We were one down, and Joycey came up to me and just went, "Harry, go on, keep your pads on, you can bat," instead of me. And I sort of, again, like Joyce, I literally sat there like a little kid, and I was like, "Alright, fine, chuck him on." As soon as I chucked him on, Craig Chopra, he got out for 50 odd. So I then walk out and I'm batting with Luke Wright, and obviously I'm bricking it because it's it's probably my proper debut, and also like I'm batting with Luke Wright.
Wasn't it?
I don't know if it was on TV. No, I don't think it was on TV. It was a decent crowd. It was probably like 80% capacity and blah blah blah. But I just went out there and about 500 people. Loads of people. Blind man and his dog. Yeah, it's brilliant. I remember going out there and I reckon I was 20 off 25 balls or something, and just got that feeling of, oh my god, what am I doing here? I'm rubbish. But actually, the perception was I actually was doing perfectly fine.
Doing well.
But I actually got to that.
I think I was next to come in.
I think you were, yeah. I got to that. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, but on the effort point, and the fucking factor, basically.
Sorry, parents are listening with kids, but Josh Butler does have that written.
He does.
And they did put it in the paper, so we're only quoting what the greats of the game are doing.
Correct. I got to that point because I think I must have died a few up, and I just thought, fuck it, I've had enough of this, and I just walloped one of the seamers over mid-on for 6.
It was Hogan.
Probably, and then from that moment,
I remember clear as that.
Yeah, I just from that point on, as you said, everything came out the middle. I did sweep Hogan and eventually for 6 later on. And
by the way, you're not giving yourself any credit there. You didn't just sweep him; you hit him out of the ground at home.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I remember it.
I was in a bit of a zone, so it's. But that to this day was probably the best innings white ball innings I've ever played, definitely. And
so what's changed then since then? It's interesting because not for, and the reason I want to touch on it's not why you do it, but lots of players go through it.
Yeah.
Lots of club players do it who have a great game on a Saturday in the first team, any division, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks later they're like, I don't know why I'm not doing it different. What do you think it is? Because cricket is a very mentally challenging game.
Yeah, and I literally that's as simple as you've answered the question. But it's purely mental. It's 2 things. It's mental and it's looking too much into technique. Your techniques. Look, you do have to have a certain level of technique, as you know, to play to a certain level. However, to get yourself from being a good player to a great player, I don't think is technical. Or get yourself from being an average player to a good player, it's not technical, it's mental. It's got nothing to do with technique. And I would analyse way too much on my technique or look at other people's techniques and try and take from